This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus and 17 Days of Star Wars. Gonna cut into the present really quick and talk about The Force Awakens and the new Star Wars trilogy. Just talking about things that I would like to see as we progress into this new era of Star Wars. Now, we have a pretty good director in J.J. Abrams. He helped the writers with the screenplay, and for the most part, he's a very good screenplay writer and a very good director. But, you know, there are some worries. You know, one of the things I want to make sure that he does with his movie is that it has a lot of continuity to it. It flows very well from, I know there's 30 years, a 30-year gap, but I want it to have a, like, you know, seamless flow. Whereas I think the prequels didn't seamlessly flow into the original series, only because I felt like the way that they told the story, it could have left a lot of questions for people. I know for me, I was just not satisfied with like how everything was established, as far as like how the Emperor gained power. You know, I thought that was very convoluted. There were some things in it that were, you know, that were kind of cool. You know, the double, you know, the, how, what's the term? You know, how he basically, you know, tricked them all, but at the same time, how he tricked them all kind of was lame because he telegraphed so much of what he did, at least in my opinion. And I felt like the Jedi were made to look like these really stupid people, where they're supposed to be these wise, you know, mystical beings and all that. It was like, this guy clearly telegraphs some of what he's doing. You have been sitting here telling people all through the movie, don't trust politicians, don't trust politicians. Yet, anytime Palpatine made a suggestion, everybody was down with what Palpatine wanted. It was like, if Palpatine came up with the idea, it's fine, but don't trust politicians, right? Made no sense. You know, the way that they had the setup with the romance towards Leia and Luke's parents. You know, again, as I said in a previous video, she saw this dude do like a hideous act. He confessed to it, and not only did he confess to it, but even though he was crying, he wasn't really that remorseful. He was still angry. He was still in a rage. He was, you know, he kind of was glad. You know, at the same, you know, at the same time, I could see they were trying to make he's fighting within himself. That's why he's like crying while he's screaming. But it's like the things that he's saying after, like, you know, saying like, I killed them all, like talking about, I want to make sure nobody ever has to die. I'm going to be the most powerful. Like, he's sitting here telling you, yo, I'm crazy as fuck. And Padme still, you know, she was drawn to him. I'm sorry, maybe I'm not as charitable, not as caring, loving as Padme, but as far as he was going with what he was saying, you know, it's like, okay, I understood why you killed the Tusken Raiders, because they took your mom, they, you know, they abused her, and it led to her death. Okay, you raged that moment. You just lost it. You snapped. Okay, now let's just like get over it and, you know, try to heal from it. No, instead of wanting to like feel remorseful, you're screaming about how you're powerful and you need to use your power to control life itself. Nah, no. And that's where it's like, okay, something's going on. And then he's already made, he telegraphed a couple of things talking about, like, people should be made to do what they need to be done. He's talking like a tyrant and a dictator, and he's talking about, well, maybe they should. And then he laughs at the end, and you're like, oh, you're just like, you can't be that stupid. Come on. You can see in his face that he really meant that shit. But you're so fucking, like, dreamy-eyed over him, I guess, that you can't see that. You're supposed to be the mature one. You're supposed to be the more adult in this situation. You've had experience in the Senate. You've ruled as a queen. You can't, like, peep that this dude has problems. Nah. So they really need to fix that. The continuity, the storytelling. It has to be believable. You have to be able to buy it, and it has to work within the universe. I've always said that the problem with the prequels is that since there's been so many books and other types of media that have come out that have done a great job of tying the universe together, it's bad that the guy who created it had the worst go at it. You know what I mean? So definitely Abrams, you gotta get the continuity straight. Other things I'm looking for, the action. I'm digging the fact that he's making everything look like it did back in the original trilogy. He's kind of giving you that nostalgia feel to it. Well, let's have the, like, combat feel just as good. I didn't think that the prequels combat felt bad, but I do like the return to a more, grittier style with things. And I feel like with modern technology, there's going to be a more level of, I won't say brutality, but quote unquote realism mixed in with that. I think that was one of the things that made the original trilogy kind of special, though, because it was like the limitations of technology gave it a more, realistic, unique feel, whereas he used too much technology this time around, and it looked great, and he, like I said before, he had some of the best battle sequences I've seen, but I think this is gonna feel a lot better. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna make the, like, he's not lending too much, leading too much into technology to carry you. I think will make it a lot better. So, but we'll see. We will see. That's one thing I want to see too. And I want to see the characters, the new characters, how they develop. I want them to be developed right, and make their stories interesting, and don't make it convoluted. One of the things about the original trilogy is that, despite, like I said, some bad dialogue, it was pretty straightforward and simple who everybody was, where they came from, and what their purpose was in this world. That's key. You don't need to overdoing a person's origin. Like, I think one of the things that people knock J.J. Abrams for was in the second Star Trek movies. I'm about to say Star Wars movie, but the second Star Trek movie, the explanation of Khan and his background and all that, it didn't sit that well with people. I thought it was okay, but I could understand why people had issues with it. The whole, he's coming from a bunch of people who were, I believe they were like cloned, or they were like engineered as these, like, bred as these warriors and stuff like that. And he was one of the last survivors of the experiment and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I think that was already in the original Star Trek show, but maybe it just didn't translate that well in the movie. I forget exactly, so if someone, please correct me if I'm wrong about the explanation of Khan, but I always heard that was something that didn't sit that well, especially with Star Trek fans. So hopefully he won't do anything outlandish within the universe. I think Disney and LucasArts, and even though he says he doesn't have that much control, I think Lucas is going to have enough input to kind of explain to him how characters work in the universe. He may not influence the story, but I think he's gonna have a say in the shaping of the universe. So, but we'll see. We will see. Those are most of the things that I'm looking for. But I'm gonna end this now. You guys, let me know what are your expectations of The Force Awakens and the rest of the new trilogy. So, as always, hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out.